Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Angela Grace. I'm a registered psychologist in Western Canada, and I also live with the chronic illness long COVID. In this video, I'm going to share with you some acceptance and commitment principles to provide a framework for individuals living with a chronic illness to help you cope with your new reality. Radical acceptance is an important aspect of navigating your new reality effectively. I'm also going to introduce emotional freedom technique, which is a powerful technique that will help you process difficult thoughts, emotions, and even physical symptoms. We'll then talk about the importance of clarifying your personal values, what truly matters to you, then learn how to use these values to guide your pacing and energy and what you do throughout the day. All of this is important for your quality of life. So, what is radical acceptance? Radical acceptance is the ability to accept situations that are outside of your control without judging them, which reduces the suffering they cause. It is really difficult to think of radically accepting a chronic illness. But what we need to do is accept the situation for what it is without judgment. Radical acceptance is accepting your emotions in the moment as they are without denying, avoiding, or ignoring the situation. Radical acceptance helps us to process challenging and often dialectical feelings. And what I mean by dialectical feelings are feelings of complete opposite in the same moment. Even though I'm angry about the medical gaslighting I experience, I am still going to accept and love myself. Even though I'm frustrated by this experience, I'm still going to commit to my values. Radical acceptance is a radical commitment to easing suffering. When you find yourself in a moment of suffering, you need to stop and declare out loud, no suffering, and then take the actions you need to limit and reduce the suffering and come into as much ease and comfort as possible. So, how can we radically accept a situation that feels terrible and impossible to deal with? We have to name it. We have to say what it is. I like to think of giving it the title of a book or the title of a movie. If you could step back and say, what would be the title of this situation? And then give it a title, it can help to compact it and make it into a story that you are going to live through and survive. It can also be helpful to think of taking a bird's eye view and seeing the current situation from a distance. So imagine you're an eagle on a tall tree looking down on yourself in this situation. What would they see? Even if it's something as simple saying human struggling or going through a hard time or difficulty with energy, something like that, labeling it, looking at it from a distance, can be really helpful at the beginning of radical acceptance. Another thing that we can do to put our situation into context for radical acceptance is to recognize that this is part of the human experience. Sometimes I think that the earth is a planet of suffering where we experience a whole range of human suffering in different aspects. It's also a planet of healing where we get to experience different aspects of healing for body, mind, and spirit. One way to label and to put a title on your experience is to use two words, a noun and a verb. For example, a noun could be I, a verb could be am struggling. I struggle. I hurt. Partner sleeping while I'm awake, right? So by labeling it and putting the actual truth to what the situation is, you are moving into radical acceptance. You can also breathe the truth. Breathe the truth. Inhale, I'm experiencing this. Exhale, I choose to ease the suffering. Inhale, I feel this. Exhale, I release and relax. You can also hum the truth. So just inhale and gently hum. What humming does is it calms the vagus nerve and it calms the base brain right at the base of the skull where we feel our fight and flight, where we feel going into the sympathetic nervous system, where we're activated and sending hormones and cortisol and stress hormones through our body. Humming can help calm that. Think of when there's a baby and a baby is crying, we'll say shh, and we'll hum little songs right in their ear. We need to do that for ourselves. That can help calm down the system, and it's humming the truth. We can also speak the truth by labeling what is happening in the moment and telling good people who believe us. Radical acceptance is radically accepting where you are at in the present, radically accepting the situation that is happening, and radically accepting yourself. So I'm going to talk about a strategy that is really quite profound, and it's called emotional freedom technique. So emotional freedom technique is tapping, and it is based on the concept of meridian points or energy points in the body that is very similar to acupuncture. So this technique restores balance to the body and to the brain and the spirit by helping you to process challenging emotions. So there's research behind it that EFT tapping has demonstrated effectiveness in treating PTSD among veterans, and it's shown promise in reducing anxiety and increasing self-esteem. So there's 4 parts to the process. The first is identifying the challenge. So that also fits with radical acceptance in naming what the situation is. So identifying the challenge, whether it's a challenging emotion, whether it's a sensation of pain in the body, or it's a situation that does not feel very good in the moment. The second is creating a setup phrase to acknowledge and accept the issue. So the setup phrase is, even though this thing is happening. So even though I feel angry, even though my stomach really hurts, even though I have a terrible headache, even though the doctor ignored me. So it's a setup situation that acknowledges and accepts the issue. The third thing we do is create an affirmational phrase focused on accepting yourself. So that phrase can be, so the setup phrase, even though I have a terrible headache, I'm still going to love and accept myself exactly as I am, or some kind of phrase that affirms who you are. The fourth part is we take those phrases and then we start tapping on specific meridian points. So we do a cycle, and I'll teach you that cycle right away. We do a cycle, we check in with ourselves. How am I feeling now? We do another cycle. check in with yourself. How am I feeling now? And do another cycle. And hopefully, by the end of each cycle, you start to feel more settled and more grounded in your present. So I'll just show you a brief practice here. So you set up the phrases, even though I state the problem that you're experiencing, I'm still going to deeply and completely accept myself. And now I'm going to show you the cycle of actions that we do for emotional freedom technique. So let's choose, let's just choose something general. You can choose your own setup phrase for the practice. But I'm going to choose, even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I'm still going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. And so we start with the outside point of the hand, also known as the karate chop point of the hand. And we start tapping on that outside point of the hand while saying the phrase, even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I'm still going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Then we move to the next point, tapping around the crown of the head. You can tap in one spot or you can tap in a circle. Even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I choose to love and accept myself exactly as I am. And then we tap on the inner part of the eyebrow. Even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And then on the top of the eye, even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. On the outside of the eye, even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Under the eye, so right on the bone. Even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Under the nose. Even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Under the lip. Even though I'm living with a chronic illness that is sometimes really difficult, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. Underneath the collarbone, even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And now under the arm by the ribs, even though I'm living with a chronic illness, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. And end the cycle, even though I'm living with a chronic illness that is very difficult sometimes, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. You can bring your fingertips together and take a little break. And now check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Take a breath. Notice the different parts of your body. Has anything shifted? Has anything changed? Now, on the second round, you can modify the phrase a little bit if you need to. So, what comes to my mind is modifying the phrase, just even though I'm really tired with this chronic illness, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. So we start tapping. Even though I'm really tired sometimes from this illness, I'm still going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. And under the arm, right by the ribs. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. And end at the same point as you began. Even though I get really tired, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Fingertips together just to bring everything to a close for that round. Take a break, check in with yourself. What's happening in your body now? What's happening with your emotions? And for this last round, you can say the same phrases as the first or the second, or you can simplify it to your affirmation for yourself. I'm going to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Say your phrase for yourself, and I'll do the demonstration. Fingertips together. 3 deep breaths. Check in with yourself. How are you feeling now? So it's very easy to learn the cycle. You can return to this video as often as you want to learn the cycle. You can apply it anywhere. It's very simple, whether in your car, in your bed, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, when a situation comes up that is challenging. So emotional freedom technique is a very powerful strategy that you can apply to any situation and any emotion that you need to process. So we began with radical acceptance, naming the situation and recognizing that you were in this very, very, very human experience. And then we did emotional freedom technique to help you process the challenge, process the challenging emotions. And once you're in a much more settled state, then you can think about committing to living your values. So this is really about quality of life and commitment to yourself. Profound illness causes profound reconsideration of what is important to you. We can recognize the spectrum of our values. And what I mean by that, I'll give you an example from my own life. So I value being active in nature. And I'll never forget the last hiking trip before I got COVID. I went to Lake Louise. I got up at 4 a.m, drove to Lake Louise from Calgary, hiked 18 kilometers to see the change of color in the larches. I enjoyed every moment, felt strong and powerful, and love hiking like that. A few months later, I got COVID, and there is no way I can hike 18 kilometers like that again. However, I can still enjoy nature. I can still enjoy the small walks I'm able to do by the river with my husband and my dog. I'm still able to go see some larches, but it is not an 18-kilometer hike. So that's what I mean by the spectrum and also the energetic capacity that you now have. You can still have the same values, but the capacity can be smaller the energetic time and energy spent, but it can also be deeper. So instead of hiking 18 kilometers to see larches, I'm now learning to paint. And larches is going to be one of the things that I paint. So you can think about how can you keep the same value, but shift your energy around it and increase the depth and the gratitude around it. You can also commit to carrying routines that ease your suffering and contribute to your quality of life. Perhaps having, instead of going and doing a big activity with a friend or a group of friends, perhaps it's once a week or once a month cup of tea at your favorite cafe or in your home, or maybe it's going for a drive somewhere. But it's thinking about the routines that can ease suffering and contribute to quality of life. And it's committing to your values is about recognizing that even though things are different now, you are still you, your life has value, and you are worthy. Profound illness makes us think about life differently. We do often think about quality of life over quantity of life. And this is where turning to emotions, turning to relationships, and turning to art and poetry and wonder and spirituality can be tremendously helpful as we navigate our new values and commitment to ourselves. So in closing, I'd like to share with you a poem by Mary Oliver that really fits within what you're experiencing with chronic illness. So this poem is called Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Thank you. I wish you wellness.